don't think people truly appreciate just how much less we are drinking than at any other time in modern history. For the first time, the alcohol industry is taking a huge hit, and I'm going to explain a few reasons why. First, let's take a look at some of the stats because it's pretty fascinating. Only 54% of adults say that they drink, and that's down from about 65% in the early 2000s. This is the lowest number Gallup has recorded in decades. And it's even more so for younger people that 30% of Gen Z does not drink at all, and they're drinking 20% less than we millennials did at their age. Now, when we look at the reasons, I'm going to break it down into the generations because Gen Z may be single handedly responsible for this huge wound on the alcohol industry. With Gen Z, their relationship to alcohol is just different. They grew up seeing their predecessors have all sorts of consequences, bad social media posts, and receipts that will never go away. They're much more mental health conscious, and it's not weird to be sober or sober curious. They don't have that same level of pressure as generations before. And Gen Z is much more okay with not going out. They tend to be a little bit more introverted, and some of those prime partying years were disrupted in 2020, making it more normalized to stay in. For them, when it comes to alcohol, it's not that same rite of passage, and they have different preferences when it comes to substances, which I'll talk about in a bit. Now, with us older folks, our attitudes have changed as well. It used to be if you didn't drink, you were just kind of weird, religious, or a recovering alcoholic. There was a ton of pressure every time you went out, and people don't realize just how hard it was to stay sober. Now we just tend to be a little bit more health conscious. There's been a big movement to take breaks or just not drink anymore. We've experienced a lot of those consequences when it comes to alcohol, and we're kind of sick of it in our older age. So now, as a sober person, I'm loving it because it's not quite as weird, and every restaurant you go to has a huge mocktail menu. It used to be you just would drink O'Doul's, which was absolutely horrible. Now you have all these different types of craft beers, wines, and they even somehow make spirits, which I still don't scientifically understand how they pull it off. And the last reason, which is pretty big, since legalizing of, let's just call it the green plant, a lot of people have switched. It's not as physically harsh on your body, you don't have the same hangovers, and it's much more available. And this goes especially for young people looking for an alternative to alcohol, and it fits much better with their personalities of staying in and being a little more introverted, for better or worse. So, are you drinking a little less too, or are you bucking the trend?